right, well, I am here again with Charlie Dobson, Olympic 2024 hopeful, who has been training. This has been a rough year to train. Tell us about some of the challenges for training.
So for those who don't know, I'm from Flint, Michigan. That's where I currently reside as well. So one of the obstacles that I have faced over the last few years was training through the water crisis.
Mm-hmm.
So can imagine how that was. And then on top of that, as a city, living in a city that's trying to recover from a water crisis, to get hit with a pandemic has just brought on a toll of obstacles within itself. And so that was a bit challenging.
You showed me a picture, though, of one of your training in the high school.
Oh, yeah.
Tell us about that.
Okay, so COVID restrictions, because of the COVID restrictions, I wasn't allowed to train at universities. Oftentimes during indoor season, I would train at Saginaw Valley, but the restrictions they weren't allowing club teams to train on their campus and stuff. And so I contacted my old high school and talked to the athletic director, told him my situation, and by the grace of God, he was just willing to allow me to train in the hallways. So one of the events for the heptathlon are the hurdles. It's the 100-meter hurdles. So I showed Tom a picture of some hurdles lined up
in the high school
hallways. And so since we're not on a track where the distance and stuff are lined up or measured out, I bought measuring tape so we can measure out the hurdle, how far the hurdles are and stuff. And it was interesting because I had to, in the midst of relearning the event, I had to learn the even more in-depth detail, the measurements between the hurdles. And
to set it up.
To set it up, to set my blocks, to just make sure that once I got to the track, I was able to just transition back over. So, yeah.
Wow.
It was it was interesting.
Lansing campus shared she trains to do better for Jesus and for her daughter. And then Micah Arthur says he's training for spelling, and he said it's worked out good most of the time. Spelling can be hard. I feel that. I actually talked to my kids. I said, part of training for you is at school, training to do good in math and spelling and learning these things.
Absolutely. Dawn, you told me earlier before the service started that you trained for something once big.
Right, but how do you follow up what Charlie just said? I did a half marathon, but for me that was a pretty big deal. So and part of the fun was training with a friend and having somebody to go through that process with.
Absolutely. Charlie, real quick, tell us, what is the heptathlon?
So the heptathlon is made up 7 events. It's high jump, long jump, shot put, javelin, the hurdles, 200, and the 800.
Oh, my gosh.
Wow.
Oh, my gosh.
So,
all of those things. All the things. All right.
A little bit of everything.
Well, hey, let's get back to Nancy and see what else we can train for besides the heptathlon.